Sorry, what was that? Yes, so Hairless here. Today we have our third reaction to Dimash. This was very heavily requested. This is a performance from Sochi in 2018 and it's from the International Contest of Young Pop Singers. This is Sinful Passion. It's a song originally by a group called A-Studio and I did listen to the original before this with the lyrics translation as well, so I know what the song's about. This translation I know might not be perfect, but it's good enough to understand what the song is about overall and what the overall sentiment is of each section of the song. So let's get straight into it.
Как из лунного сна. О, если б знала ты, что мне нужна, только ты одна.
Very airy so far, very airy voice.
Лилии долгие лилии, были ночи без сна, но в стуже сердце озарило, как весна, только ты одна.
Okay, just going to pause there, quickly go over a couple of points from that introduction. Very nice intro, very solemn. I noticed that the pianist, he's from A-Studio. I think that's pretty cool. So Dimash is performing with the creators of the song. I like that, that's good to see. So the first thing I wanted to point out was just the opening phrase. What makes it quite solemn was this chromatic descending bass line. You just have the piano and Dimash singing here, so everything's very, very exposed. Listen to the lowest piano part, it goes do, 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 dum. And then down again. When that happens, a chromatic descending bass line, it always catches my ear, and I think they've used it so well here. As I said, it's very exposed and open, there's not much going on, and Dimash, he's being very, very airy with his voice, particularly with the lower notes, like here. He's almost not singing, it's more like a, like a breath type of sound. This is definitely a stylistic choice because we know that he can go down there. So it's kind of setting the overall mood of the performance. Then the introduction, the first phase kind of ends with a nice 4/3 suspension. I've explained this in some of my other videos, so sorry if I'm repeating if you've seen them. But for those of you who haven't and who don't know what a 4/3 suspension is, I'll quickly put a clip of me just showing you on the piano. So a 4/3 suspension is where you take the fourth note and hold it on when the chord changes and then move it. So in E, which is number 1, you take the fourth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move it down. So it's like a, instead of just immediately arriving at the chord. It's more clear if you also have the fifth note, because instead of just going like that, you get, and then we get the same at the end of the introduction here. The purpose of a suspension usually is to create some kind of tension, and in this case it's released by the piano moving up. Okay, let's carry on. I'm excited to see where this goes because he's not shown much of his range so far. I think that's the same bassist as the A studio as well.
Ночь сомкнула ресницы, и вокруг тишина. Забыты звуки, руки, лица. Мне нужна только ты одна. Околдован тобою.
He seems to be getting higher and higher.
Выпью зелье до дна. И ты вернешь меня из бездны в этот мир. Только ты одна.
Okay, if it's the chorus again, daimnya, daimnya, I think he's going to go higher, higher. So let's pause there, just recap a couple of things. I really like the calmness of this arrangement. It's quite captivating. You know, you can see everyone's just watching, like, what's going to happen. The cello, too, a very nice touch. In the original, there are strings playing. As you can see in the video here, the strings, and here's the pianist, and this, I think, is the bassist. So perhaps the inclusion of the cello is kind of like an homage to the original song. And that's nice to see. It shows that Dimash isn't changing it about too much. Almost like paying respect to the songwriters. But the cello, as far as string instruments go, has one of the lowest registers. When it comes in, it's when Dimash suddenly moves up in his register. Cello. Now he's very airy up there, which for him, from what I've seen, certainly is not high. It creates a nice contrast with the cello, or the cello creates a nice contrast with him. I wanted to point out a comparison between how he sings. The chorus, daimnya, give to me, close to each other, but how different they are. This is the first time from this section. It's just so airy, like not airy, like so airy. It's almost like the sound isn't coming out, which makes this next part even more powerful and even more of a contrast. So this part, especially now, more of an operatic baritone kind of sound. And then to skip forward a bit, here when he's singing the words, "I'll drink the potion," he's bewitched here. He is easily hitting an A on the top note. And that is actually just one step off the top of a typical tenor range. Typically a tenor would be expected to sing the B, and he's doing that, and it just seems so easy. I think a lot of people hearing this, because he's making it sound so easy, wouldn't understand quite how high it is in his chest voice, in his full voice. Okay, let's continue. What was that? Sorry, what was that he was doing with his voice there? That's unbelievable. In one of my comments, I'll put it on the screen now so you can pause it if you want to read the whole thing. They let me know that it is in fact called a Monteverdi trill, or a goat's trill. Oh. Just a note here that I did watch the ending after that, when everyone's giving him all the flowers, and he makes a very nice speech. A lot of the comments say how he is a very humble person. He has a lot of humility. You can definitely see that in this. It's nice to see. That's a lot of flowers. Okay, there were a few bits in that last section that really threw me off guard. I'll just try and pick out the ones that I think are the most important. So this part here, he says again, "Дай мне," give to me 2 times in a row. The first one, operatic tenor. You know, a lot of vibrato, sounds like an operatic tenor. The second one, no vibrato, is much more of a belted chest voice. So the dai part, no vibrato, but then on the nye, there is vibrato. I think of that as more of a musical theatre style of singing, quite belty, not so operatic, but you know, still very powerful, using the higher parts of your chest voice, your full voice. And the second time round as well, he hits the top B, which is typically as high as a tenor would be expected to go. Right, now this section of about 20 seconds. Obviously, that's absurd. Don't need to go into that. Virtuosic male soprano kind of performance. Also, shout out to the piano part there. I think it's really nice. Here, he goes up to a top E, which was the highest note I heard in my previous reaction, Olimpico. But I think what works nicely here is that they've made this more of a spectacle because they've made it weirder harmonically. They've changed the chord structure and the chords that we hear, particularly at this part. That chord there, I just was not expecting. It doesn't make sense to use it there. It's a C sharp minor, and it's just not where the harmonic progression was leading. So there's this element of surprise when coupled with him going crazy up there singing. It's very surprising. This next bit, he's singing again, give, die. That is a top C, which for an operatic tenor is like a show note. You know, they don't happen too often, and when they do, everyone is like, whoa. Here's an example from a very famous performance of it. So he does this operatically, but then on mye to me, he changes his style again. Just like he did earlier. This time it's much more noticeably a blend of his head voice and his chest voice. So that's the C. And then there, that was a blend. As for the chords underneath, the harmony, it's a bit ambiguous. I'm not actually too sure. On dai, you can hear a G at the bottom. I'm getting a feeling of, which I'm then expecting to resolve to G minor. And whilst there's no change, that's now more of the feeling that I'm getting, G minor. But then he goes up to the E. So now I feel like we're in C major. Then the drums come in. And then suddenly we're in B flat minor. Boom, out of nowhere. Very unexpected. And of course Dimash rises to that B flat perfectly. Then he goes on a mad run, crazy breath control, obviously, he's pitch perfect on every note. And he doesn't actually breathe for that whole phrase, which is about, I just checked, it's about 20 seconds, maybe a bit more. Whilst doing all those vocal gymnastics up there, it's crazy. And then my last point, which is the run in the second half of this phrase. If I just heard that with my eyes closed, I would never ever think that that's coming out of a man's body. I think maybe it's a younger boy, someone whose voice hasn't actually broken yet. Dimash's voice is crazy. You know, there's not much more to say. Overall, yeah, another wow performance. From everything from his performance to the unexpectedness and nice changes in harmony that we see. And I like the fact that he's performing with the original performers of the song. Let's leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thank you for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.